Hi, everybody. I'm not there today, so I am going ahead and pre-recording this. Um, I am not feeling well. I wasn't feeling well today, and it's just progressively gotten worse. And I'm not going to be there tomorrow. But I didn't want you not to be able to do what we had taught, what we had scheduled. So I'm going to walk you through that real quick and walk you through your assignments that will be due on Monday of next week. So today we took notes on material handling safety. So we looked at different components like safe lifting, personal protective equipment, dangerous goods, hazardous materials, those types of things. We looked at those today and took some notes on them. So, what you're going to be doing for your assignments this week are going to be related to those types of things. We also talked about ergonomics. I forgot about that one. But one thing that I had on the agenda to do tomorrow, was to work with a material safety data sheet. So on our notes, we wrote that all hazardous materials have material safety data sheets for them. And basically, these data sheets give you all of the information about that hazardous material. So they give you what it's called, what it's made of, the first aid measures, how to dispose of it, how to do all of those types of things, and what you need to know about that product, especially if you're transporting the product or people you know or are working with are coming in contact with that product. So, what we're going to do today is take a look at one of those and kind of see how you read them and what kind of information they provide. So, we're going to walk through that really quick, and then I'm going to go over the assignments that you have um, for the week. Okay, so let's get started. So, on my screen, you can see on the left, there's this MSDS review. I'm going to see if I can move this somewhere out of the way. And then where is the actual MSDS? I had it up here somewhere. Okay, well, I reckon I'll open another one.
Mom, I always do mine. Wanting to know tea when it's lunch. You finally made it normal again.
So the MSDS provides all kinds of information. I'm going to open an example of one, and we're going to use that to do this activity. So we're going to read, we're going to look through the MSDS example and use it to answer these questions. Okay. All right. Here we go. Come on, little buddy. I'm using my Chromebook, y'all. It's about as slow as molasses. Anybody of y'all's that have used mine in my classroom know that they are crazy. All right. So the first thing that this document asks is, what's the name of the product? So if we go over here to the MSDS and we look, part 1 says identification. So this tells us what the trade name is, a description of what it is, details about where it comes from, who to contact, who makes it, that type of thing. So what we're really looking for is the trade name. So this says it's hydrogen peroxide 35%. So we're going to go over here. Okay. Okay. So we know it's hydrogen peroxide. That is the identifier. That is the name of the item. Okay. The next one asks us the classification. So as we scroll down in the MSDS, we see here where it talks about more identification information, and it says classification of the substance or mixture. So here it's got quite a few. And these are the things that you would use. So it's a corrosive, it's a flame over circle. So what we're going to put are these codes. So GHSO3, GHSO5 and GHSO7. Okay, so those are the main elements that or classifications of the substance. So it falls into, like, I know, for example, that corrosive is class 8. So it falls into that particular class. Okay, 3 precautionary statements for this substance. So to take a precaution means that you're being very particularly careful about certain things. So as we scroll down through the MSDS, we see some precautionary statements. So take any precaution to avoid mixing with combustibles. Wear fire flame resistant clothing. Keep away from clothing and other combustible materials. Wear protective gloves. So any of those can work. So we'll put here okay, gloves. Okay, let's see what we can do. We can do another one. Avoid mixing with combustibles. Okay. And then we got to do one more. All right, and we're going to put keep away or wash thoroughly after handling. Okay, so those are 3 precautions that you can take while you are dealing with this particular substance. Wear gloves, don't mix it with anything that's combustible, and wash thoroughly after handling. All right, what is the first aid measure for each of the following? So let's scroll down and see if we can find. Now, this section talks about composition, what it's made of. Okay, so here's some first aid measures that it lists. So for eye contact, you're going to say, on here it says, rinse open eye for several minutes, consult a doctor. So rinse eye for several minutes, contact doctor. Okay. All right. So another one, this says swallowing. It's right here. It says after swallowing, consult a doctor. Okay. All right. So we've gone into the first aid measures of the MSDS here and found some information. All right. So the next one asks, and we're going to use the highlighter tool if I can find it. Oh, here it is. We're going to mark yes or no for is breathing equipment required to handle this product? So let's scroll through here and see. I think there's a section that specifically talks about personal protective equipment. Here we go. So number 8 talks about personal protective equipment and protection on what you should do. So if you scroll down, it says protective gloves and goggles. So that doesn't say anything about breathing. In case of brief exposure or low pollution, use respiratory filter device. In case of intensive or longer exposure, use respiratory protective device that is independent circulating air. So I don't think it's required. Well, let's say yes, because it does say, okay, because it does say that, if you are exposed to it, you should have it on. So we'll go with yes. All right, now it's going to ask you about the form and the color of the product. So we're going to scroll down a little bit. And this right here talks about the physical and chemical properties of the actual hydrogen peroxide. So here it says that it's got what it looks like in as far as form. So it's a colorless liquid. So here we're going to put the form is liquid, and then the color, it's colorless. Okay. So that tells us that there. All right. So now we want to know if it's flammable. Oh, flammability right here. It says not applicable. So that's exactly what we're going to put. We're going to put no because it is not applicable. Okay. So the next thing asks, what is the recommendation about disposal of this? So let's say you have this and you got to get rid of it. Okay. There are certain things that you have to follow to be able to dispose of it. Number 13, disposable considerations. Observe all federal, state, and local regulations. Okay, so follow EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, regulations for disposal. Okay. Is it regulated by the DOT? It actually is. Okay, because it talks about DOT right here, hydrogen peroxide. It's got to have a corrosive label. Its UN number is 2014. That has to be on the outside of the packaging, on the paperwork. It has to have a label, an oxidizing substance label. So that would be a yes. So it is regulated by the DOT. Okay, so in your own words, explain what you think this type of document, what its purpose is. Okay. And I'm just going to tell you the purpose of this document is to inform. Are you going to be a poop? Transporters, consumers, and suppliers of the dangers and measures and safety measures to use when working with this product. Okay. And that's exactly what it is. It gives you all the information of how to dispose of it, what it is, what it looks like, what it smells like, if you need personal protective equipment. The purpose of the MSDS is to give you all of that. Okay. So it's a very important document. Any kind of hazardous material you have in your facility should have one of these, or you should have one of them somewhere in the building so that you are able to access it if there is exposure or a problem. Okay. All right. So that was the activity that I wanted us to do together, just to give you some experience on looking at an MSDS and really exploring what it has to tell you about a product. Okay. We would have done this together had I been there tomorrow, but unfortunately, that's just not possible. But we have the video so you can kind of see how it works and what it is. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the assignments that you have due next Monday. So you'll have, the remainder of the class period today and then tomorrow to work on those and have them in by Monday. The first one, number 1 on your list, talks about the ergonomics activity. And remember, we talked about ergonomics being like tools that you use in your workplace that are designed to make the user or the employee more comfortable. Remember, we talked about the floor that moved up and down the transformer so that the employees didn't have to reach up high or down low. They could actually put it at the most comfortable level for them to work on it. We talked about the keyboards and the mice that are ergonomically designed to be less stressful on your hands. So we talked about all of that. I had all this up before I started this video, and then somehow it all went MIA, but that's okay. We got this. The ergonomics activity and the safe lifting slide poster are in the same Google slideshow. So you can do those at the same time. Okay, come on, little buddy. The ergonomics activity basically has you do some research on to find some ergonomic products in a logistics environment. Dude, come on. And it basically asks you to put a picture of that ergonomic product and then explain how it's more ergonomically developed. So why is it better than just the standard whatever? So if you did like a step stool or a ladder or something that is more ergonomically friendly, it's just explain what makes it that way. Okay. And then here it is. The second part of that is actually number 4 or number 3, the safe lifting slide poster. And this is really easy. It's just a Google slide. And all you have to do is go online and find, 5 images that represent safe lifting or safe lifting or safe lift, safe. What did I look up? I looked up safe lifting posters, safe lifting techniques, but we're not talking about weightlifting now. We're talking about lifting in a logistics environment. So make sure that you're not putting like weightlifter techniques on there. You want to make sure that it's related to logistics or warehousing or remember we talked about the power zone in our notes. From your shoulders to your knees is your power zone. Don't lift from the floor. Okay, those types of things. Here's the ergonomics one. You put an image of the ergonomics item that you find and then explain why it's ergonomically friendly. And then, like I said, the safe lifting poster is the second slide in this. And you're just going to add a minimum of 5 images. That does not include the example that represents safe lifting practices. And the little example on there is like a little poster that shows good ways to lift and not so good ways to lift. The other activity that you're going to do, I have the dangerous goods activity up there, but I'm going to take that one off, okay? Because we did the MSDS, or I did the MSDS for you, and we worked through that. So I'm not really going to put anything. I'm gonna eliminate number 2, okay? But safety Sue, and Steve activity. So this one is basically talking about PPE. So you can pick either Safety Sue or Safety Steve, whichever you prefer. And you're going to dress them up in their PPE. So when we say PPE, we're talking about personal protective equipment. We're talking about goggles, hard hats, steel-toed boots, safety vests, gloves, the kneecap things that you can put on to protect your knees, back braces, anything that you use at work, earplugs that can protect you from dangerous elements of the job. So you're going to have to add at least 6 pieces of PPE to your safety Steve or safety Sue. You don't have to do both. Just pick one. Okay. Easiest way to do that, I'm going to give you a little trick. When you go to insert the photo, if you go to image and you say search the web, let's say you want to give safety Sue a hard hat. If you type the word transparent prior to what you're looking for, so transparent hard hat, you're going to get images that don't have a background. So when you use them, they can just fit on their head without having to worry about the white background getting in the way. Okay, so if I inserted it, and then I'll have to size it to fit on Sue's head. Okay. So there you go. Safety Sue's got on her hard hat. Okay. So type the word transparent prior to whatever PPE you're looking to put on them, and you'll get, images where you don't have to worry about the background. Okay. All right. So those are your 3 activities. Again, I'm taking the dangerous good ones out because we did the MSDS on here. So ergonomics activity, safe lifting slide poster, and then safety Sue and Steve. I will have access to my email tomorrow, so if you're running any issues, just let me know. And hopefully this won't be too tough. Okay? If y'all need me, email me.